Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final Ranger Roundup of 2023. I'm your host, David Wilson, the Assistant AD for Communications. Tonight, we will be talking some Regis hoops as both the men and women ramp up for the gauntlet that is the RMAC regular season schedule. Before we get underway, again, just want to thank Regis, ITS, and Walker's Pub here on campus for their help in putting on this program every month. First guest this evening, our sophomore guard Chase Mayo Harmon and head men's basketball coach Brady Bergeson. Gentlemen, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Coach, I know we discussed this a little bit in the season preview story, but if you could, just tell us a little bit about this 2023-24 group. Has 12 players who are juniors or younger, 6 newcomers in the fold this year.
Yeah, we've got a young bunch. One senior on the roster, and he's a one-year transfer for us. So we've got a really good group of young athletes that have come in, and we've recruited guys that we felt were super competitive, really in love with the game, addicted to the game, want to get worked with, want to develop, want to compete. And that was the profile we were looking for. I think we filled our roster nicely. We've got to work through the young months and years here with our group while we gain experience, but it's been a really fun group to coach because of that profile we talked about and what we're trying to build around in terms of that mentality. And so far, I think we're on the right path, with this group. We've got, several guys in the freshman and sophomore class that are playing. We've got a couple of juniors and of course, our one senior. And I think one of the strengths of our group is our depth. We've got, we're not afraid to go 11, even 12 deep if needed. And I think we're out there trying to wear teams down a little bit and use our depth and our competitive spirit to do that.
Before we talk to Chase and one of these, star returners for us, want to talk a little bit about the newcomers. If you could give us a little insight into who some of these new guys are. Some big moments have already happened already. Ty Cox is coming off of 23 points his last time out. New starting 5 in Ollie, and then Tyreek Issa, the senior transfer that you talked about, leading the RMAC in block shots right now. If you could kind of just go into the 6 guys who are in Ranger uniforms this year.
So Tyreek's our one-year transfer guy. Really learning the system. It's different from what he's used to, but he's been a quick study, and we're able to use him for his strengths. He's using his length to protect the rim for us, which is really valuable, obviously. You mentioned Ty and Ollie, 2 of our freshmen that have been logging significant minutes, young as they are. And, for freshmen, these are 2 guys that have been notably consistent with their play, which is not something you get from freshmen typically. Guys that are, in my opinion, a little bit, as athletes, more mature than your normal average freshman. Jalen Brown's come off the bench for us and had some really good moments as well, another freshman that's in the rotation. So it's a collective effort. Guys are learning their roles. We're learning how we can best use them, and that's what sort of this early phase of the season really is all about, is not rushing to judgment, but watching guys compete, seeing what they can do best, and then figuring out how we can move those pieces around to be successful.
I know with this young team, you mentioned in November that this has been about as much fun coaching defense as you've had in the last couple of years. The team has held opponents under 60 points 3 times already, ranking the top 5 in the RMAC, and fewest points allowed and most turnovers forced. Without giving away too many of your secrets, what has allowed this group to be so suffocating to opposing offenses so far this year?
So it's pretty obvious when you come watch us play that we're into ball pressure, and we've been able to pick up full court, mades and misses a lot. We've been able to frustrate opponents both physically and psychologically with the incessant pressure that we've been able to bring forward, and that's really what our defensive system is built on. So I just bring it back to sort of the mentality that we've recruited to, and our guys are really hungry competitors, and so they really enjoy being told to be aggressive. Go get them. Just work, just go, have energy, and our guys have really bought into that. So that's where we derive most of our disruption from, is just the attitude and sort of the incessant pressure. Now, the system defensively, of course, you can't just do that. You've got to be able to cover each other when we get beat and so forth. So our rotations, our works in progress, our blocking out. There's some other things that, of course, will get better over time. But we have, like you mentioned, been able to, on numerous occasions, take people out of what they're trying to do, get teams off their marks a little bit, disrupt timing and flow, take away some teams' better players, all things that are part of the game plan overall.
Chase, for you, what has it been like playing that style? Second year in this system, doing more full court pressure this year than last year. As Coach mentioned, Regis has historically been a great ball pressure team, but it really seems like you guys have ratcheted it up a notch this year.
Yeah, for sure. Especially this year's team. We got a bunch of young guys that just love to compete. We're just a bunch of dogs, so it's really fun to us just to compete every day. And it's really fun just to be able to go on the games and actually compete against other teams, because we're used to just every day fighting against each other, beating each other up every day in practice. So it's really fun to go in games and just compete with your boys.
Can you feel it when you're out there? Second half, 8-minute media, 4-minute media that you've worn an opposing offense out. You can see what's it like actually being on the court? You guys, with your conditioning, being able to still continue to pressure that late in the game and seeing what you've been able to do start wearing on an opposing offense.
Yeah, we can definitely tell towards the end of the games, because we're used to it. We do it every single day from the first day of practice. So we've been doing it for a while. So we're really used to it. It's just what we do. And we can really tell towards the end of the game the components start to get tired.
Well, in addition to the defensive demands that you guys have had, you've had an expanded role on offense this year, leading the team in scoring so far at 16 points a game. From the end of your freshman year till now, what were some things that maybe you really focused on in your offensive game to be a 3-level offensive threat?
Yeah, really just creating my own shot, just being strong with the ball, making the right plays, really everything. I had a really big offseason, so I was really ready to take on this role. And, it was really a little bit of everything that combined into one, so, yeah.
And, Coach, for you, what growth have you seen in Chase's game since when you recruited him and the role player role he was in last year to now, needing to be a guy that's taken on more offensive responsibilities this year, moving from that role player that gets maybe 4 or 5 shots to what he's having to do now?
Chase, we knew when we recruited him how in love with the game he was, and just his approach to training and development is hyper-focused. He's a true gym rat. There's a lot of guys out there that think they're gym rats. Chase is one of those guys that really could live in the gym. So I think there was a natural progression for him taking on more of a role, and it was very transparent from the end of last season to the beginning of this one. We've had lots of discussions about what that role might look like for him, and to prepare himself for seeing teams' best defenders and seeing game plans in part built around him and stopping him and slowing him down. So that's something that Chase has been preparing for a long time. And I had no doubts over the course of the summer and the offseason that he would do the work that was required. The growth, I'll tell you that right now, the biggest growth that we've seen in Chase over the last 12 months has been on the defensive end. And this time last year, Chase was having a hard time defensively and staying in front of guys, and he is focused on that as hard as anything else in his game, and he's become gone from basically what effectively was a defensive liability at times 12 months ago to a very high-quality defender and a guy that we can count on out there in critical moments.
I'm pretty jealous, Chase. As a career role player, I never got to take more than 5 shots. If I took more than 5 shots in a game, then we were in deep trouble.
Yeah.
Coach, one of the phrases you've used a lot this year, the first month of the season, is you want to see the needle move in the right direction. Maybe not necessarily wins and losses, but when you talk about that, what are some of the small details, the benchmarks, characteristics you look for, whether in practice or games, that moves that needle?
Well, there's a few things. One of them is how together we are. This group, I think, is really bought into each other. They're bought into the locker room. They're bought into the bench. They're bought into being for each other. And so we are always looking for sort of those little indicators that show signs of our culture in that way. Another one, for instance, offensively for us, we'll chart our shot quality that we get in any given possession. And we had this meeting today, as a matter of fact, and this team is beginning to execute at a higher and higher level where the shots are coming at a higher level quality shots more consistently. So now last weekend, we had a hard time finishing some of those shots, and part of that was why we lost on Saturday. But we also can see the process taking form, that the shots are manifesting, and we're getting the right ones, we're recognizing the right ones. And so over time, as we get more and more used to that, continue the execution, we'll see those things dropping, and we'll have more success. But you just don't get automatically wave a wand and you're pouring in shots from everywhere. And this group is going about their business the right way. It's progressive, and that's what's moving the needle for us.
That was the only loss, by the way, Coach, during that 5-game homestand. Went 4-1, including a win over Black Hill State, which has been a nice little rivalry the last couple of years between the two programs. But as we get ready for the first RMAC road trip now for you guys, what do you think is going to be key to continuing this momentum? And both of you guys can answer that.
I would say just being consistent. Just keep going. We're doing our practice and learning from our mistakes from Saturday. And really just being together and just staying consistent through it all. And, yeah.
I think it's going to be a really important test for us for the next 4 games, to measure that consistency. If the same team shows up that was in the home gym for the last 5 games, we'll be fine. And sometimes you go on the road and certain things travel and certain things don't travel. And I don't know where we are right now on that. So that's going to be a really important test. What I'm hoping to see is really the same group of guys show up, whether it's just the energy and the hunger to compete, the details, and not having huge amounts of slippage on whether it's execution or blocking out or whatever phase of the game we're talking about. But again, we're just going to lean into those cultural indicators that tell us we're on the right track, and we're going to try to double down on those. Our bench is going to be awesome. Our energy is going to be awesome. We're going to be well prepared, and I'm expecting to see the guys show really positive signs of that consistency that Chase is talking about.
And Coach, that kind of segues, looking at the snapshot of just this 4-game road trip, and now looking at the bigger picture, from now until when we reconvene and get to talk hoops again in February, what are some keys, goals for this team as we try and battle for playoff position? Well, while still working on moving the needle, but also needing to get the wins to put ourselves in position to challenge for an RMAC playoff berth.
It's a great question, and there's no way I can answer it on the wins and loss column. I think it'd be a little bit unfair to a group as young as we are to go overboard on expectations. I think this group is really talented, and I think this group is going to be really good. And I don't know when that's going to be. I think that we're pointing in the right direction right now. Learning takes time sometimes, and we'll see dips and valleys, and we'll see ascents as well. And I know sounds like coach speak, but truly it would be a disservice to our team if we start talking about results exclusively in terms of the measurement. And our dream is always of championships. Our dream is always of that. And so, in order to get there, of course, you got to punch your ticket and get in the top 8 to get into the tournament. And if you get into the tournament, everybody's got a shot at it. All I know is that, if we can play our best basketball in February and give ourselves an opportunity to play into March, it'd be outstanding experience for this group. And I think no one would want to face us at that point in time.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Before we let you go, I do have a couple rapid-fire questions for you. Chase, we'll start with you. First answer that comes to your head, favorite Christmas movie and why?
Elf. That should be everyone's favorite movie. Definitely Elf.
What about you, Coach?
Elf's a good one. I'll take the, what's the one with the train? I've got 3 kids.
Oh, Polar Express.
Polar Express. I'll take that one because that's the one I'll be watching with my kids this
Fair enough. And I'm a Jim Carrey, How the Grinch Stole Christmas kind of guy.
There you go.
All right, second question. Open presents Christmas Eve or Christmas morning?
Christmas morning, for sure.
Both.
Both.
Christmas Eve, in-laws, home, Christmas. It's a big 2 days for the kids.
Fantastic. The kids love that.
More.
Both days are fantastic. In honor of this week, of finals week this week, what was your favorite subject in school and most difficult subject in school?
My favorite subject would probably be communication relationship, just because it's the easiest one. And my most difficult one would probably be stats for sure. That was tough.
Stats is tough.
Very tough.
Shots fired. I was a communications major, but all right. All right.
My bad.
Coach.
Am I talking about my classes?
Yeah.
All right.
Not that
Lunch
far.
was my favorite period, and the most challenging was probably any literature class. I'm a slow reader.
That's fair. Literature is definitely difficult. Even as someone who works in journalism, I struggled in English lit classes as well. If you didn't play or coach basketball, what would be your next sport?
Probably baseball. That's why I started playing baseball, so definitely baseball.
Not surprised for an Arizona kid. What position did you play?
Center field and third base.
What about you, Coach?
I was a middle infielder, yep. Baseball all the way.
That'd be mine too. What shortstop or second base? How strong
Mostly
is your
short,
arm?
mostly short.
Yeah,
a little
strong
bit of
arm.
second.
That's right. You got a cannon on you. Favorite road trip in the RMAC and why?
Mine was probably just tough. I like the Mesa one. I like the Westminster and Mesa just because we travel a lot, and the crowd in Mesa is it's a good atmosphere, so I like playing there for sure.
That's what you get this weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good. It's a good one. I'll go ahead and take your old stomping grounds of Durango, Colorado. What's the coffee shop at the bottom of the hill there?
Oh.
Durango Joe's.
Yep.
Best coffee shop in the RMAC.
So it's just for the coffee, or is it the beautiful
No, it's
scenery?
mostly the coffee. I like playing there too.
Okay, fair enough. And then last question for you guys: New Year's resolution for 2024.
Probably not to get any more texts. Either text or just drink a bunch of water. Yeah.
And Coach, before you answer this one, I remember I asked you this question last year, and you said no technical fouls, and I don't believe you got a technical foul in 2023.
I resolve to do the same, David. Resolve to do the same.
Fair enough. All right, well, again, big thank you to Coach Bergeson and Chase Mayo Harmon for joining us and talking some Regis men's basketball. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll be talking Regis women's hoops with head coach Molly Marrin and graduate student guard Josey Ryan. Thank you. Welcome back to the Ranger Roundup. In this segment, we're turning our attention towards the defending RMAC regular season and tournament champions, the Regis women's basketball team. Joining us is head coach Molly Marrin and graduate student guard Josey Ryan. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you.
Coach, we'll just dive right in. Team is 6-2 right now, heading into this weekend's first RMAC road trip against Westminster and Colorado Mesa. What has stood out to you so far through our first 8 games?
Well, we knew we had a challenging preseason schedule, which is what we wanted with all regional games, and so I think we're happy with that. I think especially our couple losses, we figured out areas that we need to grow in and work through. So I'm glad that we're able to find those spots early, and the players have adapted greatly to just saying, hey, this is something we need to improve in, and so the practices have been excellent since then.
You know, the team was really in a unique position entering this season. Not often you get to return so many, 4 or 5 starters, I think 10 or 12 players from a conference championship team. With the number of veterans you have, such as Josey here, Sam Deem, Aaron Fry, Athena, Madison, Sydney, what does that kind of experience mean to a team? Are you, whether that's you're emotionally mature, you're vastly far ahead from teams that are still learning each other. What does that experience mean to a group?
Well, I think I've used the word mature a lot with this group. They really are. I've said, and Josey especially too, she treats the game like a pro does. Taking care of their bodies, putting the right things in there, how they sleep, all of it. So I wouldn't say they're your typical 18 to 22-year-olds in how they approach the game, but particularly upperclassmen that have seen the experience, that have seen defeats, have seen success, and know that we can do it and want to push that even further. So, but I've said it before, but it's their team. And I empower them to be included in decisions, and they have plenty of say, don't you?
Yes.
So it's really their team, and I think when you can truly have a player-led team, the buy-in is in there because it's from them. So I'm just really here to facilitate and guide them and help them through tough conversations and try and put them in the best positions to win. So that's the biggest part, is that they can really carry the load there.
Well, on the flip side of that, have 3 newcomers who are coming into this player-led team kind of atmosphere, and sophomore transfer Pearl Green, true freshman Fiona Schnashel, and Rachel George. What have those three brought to the squad? You know, all three of them have already seen minutes. Some of them are playing, you know, really important roles. And how have they assimilated into this culture that you've created?
Oh, they've been amazing. I think, again, speaking to the maturity and just the high character group of our returners. I mean, we didn't have a kid in the transfer portal last season. I mean, that's huge. And so I think them all committing to say, I want to play another year. She could have graduated, right? She decided to come back. You know, we have 4 that are graduate students. So I think anytime you have that kind of culture, anybody that they're going to welcome them into that. And they've just done an excellent job, whether it's taking them through. I think Josey shared her playbook with Fiona. And just you just find these moments where the freshmen just say, oh, Josey, help me with that. And Fry, help me with that. And so, yeah, they've been great. And I think especially, you know, past couple weeks, we've been playing with an undersized lineup, right? We're starting to get some of our size back. Fiona's stepping up in some of those minutes. Pearl can hit 3, 4, 5 in a row. So, yeah, I think they've all molded greatly to the veteran group.
Well, Josey, for you, now in your 3rd year of Regis, 5th year as an impact player at the collegiate level overall, can you feel, has the game slowed down for you since freshman year, sophomore, to now being the 5th year vet? And, you know, maybe how has your role changed over that time as a leader since you first arrived on campus in 2021?
Yeah, I definitely say the game has slowed down a little bit. Just like with more experience, you see things better, and especially with the teammates that I have by my side, definitely slows down. From the leadership standpoint, I think, especially being here and being now 5th year, coach has really challenged me to not only use my experience, but just use my voice more to help those younger kids really understand like what college basketball is about. So that has definitely grown too.
And then, you know, Coach, from your perspective, how have you seen Josey grow since she came here from Wayne State? You know,
it's been incredible. I mean, she's a coach's kid. And so she absolutely loves the game. I mean, she watches it. She's texting me on Sundays, hey, look at this blob. I mean, it's just nuts. It's awesome. So she's always had that piece of her. But yeah, she came in pretty quiet, and I think not coming from a great experience, you know, sometimes with transfers, maybe transferring for a variety of reasons. And I just don't know if she felt as valued as she should be. And I think that was important to me to make sure that she was seen and she was heard. And I think the more that our connection grew, you know, the better she's played and the better I've coached. So,
what about her game on the floor? You know, some of the numbers that join out. I mean, she's always been a scorer. Evident she's already scored 30 this year against UCCS, but she doubled her rebounding output last year. Also led the team in steals. She became it seems like she's added a new tool every year she's been here at Regis.
She's hungry. I mean, she puts the work in. I mean, sometimes she's in there 2 times a day, you know, and sorry, Kate, on the Kara things, I'm not following all of it, but I promise we're under. But she pushes it. She's maxing out. If she can get that amount of hours in there, she's doing it. She's putting in the work. She's asking the questions. You know, I get a text, what more can I do to help lead the team? I mean, just all of the things that she's wanting to raise her level and raise our team's level.
And then Josey, for you, we've talked about maturation game has slowed down. How at this point in your career are you still looking to add new tools? Is there things that right now, right? I mean, I know I can shoot, I know I can score. Now I'm defending, now I'm rebounding. Is there anything else that you're working on and want to add to your game right now?
Not necessarily. I kind of this summer took the standpoint of I'm gonna grow on what I already can do and just make it to the best I can do it. So not necessarily adding, but just being the best version of myself already.
And I know we've all turned our attention toward and are focused on this season, but let's take a quick trip down memory lane. Now you've had some time to process it. What did last year's magical run to the RMAC regular season and tournament championships mean to both of you that you've had now some time to really think about it and digest what happened last winter?
Why don't you go first?
Yeah, it was really cool. Playing the NCAA tournament has always been a dream of mine, so just getting that experience was really cool. And the group of girls that we did it with, last year started kind of rocky for us, and just the way we came together was really awesome. And just we all love each other, and that has carried over this year, so that's really, it's been just a great experience. So, yeah.
What about you, Coach, getting to cut down the nets in the same field house you played in?
Well, I'll be honest, I cried multiple times. You know, at Pueblo, I sat and put my head in my hands just to see, you know, that we did that. That was the game we essentially had already clinched the regular season. And, had we lost to Pueblo, we would have shared it. And just to see the team say, no, this is going to be ours, like we're going to take it, and that it came from them, just to like almost sitting from the outside looking in some of those moments to see their growth and it was just incredible. But yeah, I think to be a part of history, and I said it to the girls, I said, we don't talk about individuals, we say team, we say our, we say we. The only time I say I is if we lose, then it was me. But I think just to look up at that banner, to walk into the office every day and look up there and see that number up there and say we did that, nobody can take that down. So it's something that's really special, and obviously we want another moment for that, so we'll continue fighting for that. But yeah, especially when you do it with players that are as high character as they are and put in as much work as they do, it just makes your job that much more rewarding. So
You're fantastic at segueing from you, Coach, because now fast forwarding until now, with the team aiming to repeat as champs and make it back to the regional tournament, this question for both of you: how do you maintain focus, stay driven, and handle being the hunted rather being the hunter?
Yeah, I think we have a target on our back this year for sure, and we're just kind of embracing it and trying to go 1-0 every day. So whether that's at practice and we're trying to win the shooting drill or beat our previous score, that and then carry that over to the game, and we want to go 1-0 every day.
I think the focus piece, I talk smack to them sometimes just to keep them down a little bit. They're a pretty talkative group. So just to keep it light, but just say, nobody wants you to win or whatever it may be, just to keep it kind of, take some of that pressure off and lighten it up. But
Humble us a little bit.
So we have a little banter. We have some friendly banter in practice. But yeah, I think that, looking back to last season, we were 3-3 in the non-conference. And I had to look back and remember this. And then, we lost that same game to Black Hills last year. We were 3-4, and then after that, we lost 2 games for the rest of the, conference season. So this team is capable of responding from losses, and so that's what I want to see. Like, now I can push them harder. We lost, so I can, toughen up. We watch the film. We're like, okay, this is what we need to do. So I think it's a moment for us to stay focused on the process. And I've gotten the question a bunch of times, how are you going to prepare differently for this team to that team? We prepare for every team exactly the same way, and they know that. And those are championship habits. So if we can continue to do that, the way you do anything is the way you do everything, and stay focused on who we are, then I like our chances.
And that touched on a lot about what my last question was going to be to you, is that, before we meet again in February to preview the stretch run and getting into postseason, what are some goals, benchmarks, things you would like to see this team accomplish and do during the heart of the RMAC schedule, which you talked about? This was the time of year last year where the team really shined and went on its run.
I think as far as goals, I had our players do these as well. The Breckler Award is a goal of ours, and I think that speaks to their character. We finished top 10 in the country in community service hours served. They want to be number 1, so we're already setting up something at Children's Hospital for December. So those are some non-basketball things, but I think that us growing off the court together, we haven't really traveled. So for us, this 8-hour Westman bus ride is actually going to be great, right? They're just going to get to spend more time together. So for me, I think road trips are an advantage. Not to my neck and back, but for them and their connections and everything there. So yeah, some of those benchmarks. Speaking of bench, we want the best bench in the RMAC. I would ask you to go watch film and see if you can find one, because I don't think there is one. So it's just making sure that everybody's role is important and everybody's valued, and so what we praise off the court as well.
Anything to add, Josey, as a player on the court, just what the team's looking to do these next 2 months to put ourselves in a good position to possibly repeat as regular season champs and host again?
I think Coach said it all. I think, we just need to go out every day and try to be the best version of ourselves, and then good things will happen if we do that.
But before we let you go, before we send it off to the holiday break, we do have the section of rapid-fire questions for you. Josey, you're going to start us off. Favorite Christmas movie and why?
The Santa Claus movies, because there's 3 of them, and it just follows the storyline.
Which one of the 3? Which one's the best?
Probably the 3rd one. Yeah.
Go.
I was going to say Elf as well. I said that last year also. But yeah, anything that's funny, anything that has Will Ferrell in it, I got to go with. The cheesy Hallmark ones are kind of for me, but that's okay.
I love the Santa Claus too. I would argue the first one.
Okay.
But I was a big Tim Allen fan. That was more my time anyways, but the 3rd one definitely solid. Definitely the next best in that trilogy. All right, opening presents Christmas Eve or Christmas morning?
Christmas morning.
Christmas Eve.
Is that a family tradition? Is it just Christmas Eve?
Yep, it is. Yep, white elephant, Christmas Eve.
And then spend all day Christmas playing with the stuff, right?
I spend all day Christmas cooking.
Well, in honor of finals week, what is your favorite subject and most difficult subject in school?
My favorite subject is math. Most difficult, probably science.
Science killed
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah.
She's like a 3.9 something. Yeah. I don't know, what's your grad school GPA?
It's up there.
It's a 4.0. She'll have a 4.0. I
There-
didn't have that.
There's not a ton difficult for Josey in school.
No, she does not struggle.
What about you, Coach? When you were a student here, what was your favorite subject? What was the hardest?
Favorite subject was communications major. Favorite class was communications and race. I love that class. And then least favorite would have been chemistry.
All three of us not big science fans. We bonded. Awesome. If you didn't coach or play basketball, what would your other sport be?
Soccer.
What position did you play?
Goalkeeper.
Oh,
Yeah.
She had D1 offers in soccer. I just want to put that in there too. I'm a fan.
I would not have. I would have thought maybe volleyball for Josey. Soccer, great answer. All right. What about you, Coach?
Probably wouldn't not the one that I'd be the best at, but golf. I just like to be outside and be in a golf cart, swing some clubs. I don't know if it would be my second best sport, but that's what I would pick.
It's a fantastic answer. We're all wishing that we could be golfers or better golfers in some capacity. A favorite road trip in the RMAC and why? You've gotten to make plenty of them over the last 3 years.
Yeah. I like the South Dakota trip. I think Spearfish is super pretty, and then Rapid City. Yeah.
Heard great things about Spearfish too, about it
Yeah.
being beautiful. What about you, Coach?
I would say when Western and Fort Lewis were together, the Gunny Durango trip is a beautiful one. So, and they do have a lot of little good mom and pop cafes and coffee, as Brady said. So,
All right, and then last question for you guys: New Year's resolution for 2024.
I typically do like a word for my New Year's resolution. So my word this year, I'm planning to do gratitude, just especially in like my last season of playing, just being thankful for all opportunities and experiences I have. So gratitude.
It's a great answer. I thought when she said I do a word every year, it's like she needed to add a new word to her vocabulary. Okay.
no, I don't think she does.
What about you, Coach? New
I
Year's
also
resolution.
do a word. Last year my word was connection. This year my word's going to be joy. So
Have joy in 2024. That's the goal.
that's the goal. They can help me with that. So
Oh, a little pressure there.
I'm just kidding. I'm
Fingers
just kidding. Yeah.
crossed. Fingers crossed for a joyous March.
Joy. Where you can find joy, find it.
All right. Well, fans, that's going to do it for the December episode of the Ranger Roundup. Again, want to thank Coach Molly Marrin, Coach Brady Bergeson, Chase Mayo Harmon, and Josey Ryan for joining us this evening. And want to thank Regis ITS and Walker's Pub for your assistance in putting on this program each and every month. We hope you have a wonderful holiday break, and we'll see you back in January when we preview the 2024 spring sports seasons. Thank you.
Ranger up. Good job.